Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all is well. So, we are back in London after yesterday's trip to Sheffield, and we are now going to be going live with a tax advisor who is going to be talking about taxation, the taxation system in the UK, dealing with property, with investments, and other kinds of inheritance tax, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be asking all those questions to him. Let's just send this over to Mr. Jamal Khan. Send. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you. If anyone's got any tax questions, put them in here. If you're a developer, property investor, alternative investments, inheritance tax, all that kind of stuff, put your questions in here. We will ask them. So let's just send this over. View. Jamal Khan.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All is well. Firstly, thank you so much for joining me on this mission to share the knowledge, the positivity that you have with the world. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So, before we start the conversation and move forward, if you can introduce yourself as to who you are and what you do, and then we can get the conversation going.
Sure. My name is Jamal Khan. I'm one of the senior tax partners at Churchill Tax Advisors. We're a national niche tax practice. We specialize in tax planning of all types. So we do tax planning for landlords, developers, wealthy people, inheritance tax, capital gains tax, onshore, offshore, structuring, getting clearances and rulings from HMRC, onshore trusts, offshore trusts, foundations, property companies, family investment companies, LLPs, you name it, trusts, we do it.
So if I want to save my money and not pay the government anything, I need to come to you.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to say it that way, but we all have to pay our taxes. We should pay our taxes. That's how a country grows in economy. But it's good to have that advice of what you should pay and what you shouldn't pay. Wouldn't you agree that?
Yes, absolutely. It's some of the taxes are optional, so you only pay them if you're lazy. One of them, the biggest one, is inheritance tax and income tax.
Of course.
You pay income tax if you're lazy.
Of course.
You haven't gone to a good tax advisor.
Oh well.
Gains tax is the same. So if you join the right, if you are with the right firm of advisors, yes, there are lots of accountants out there, and in fact, we are not enemies for accountants. We are friends. We have 40 odd accountants that treat us as their tax department.
Of course, and that's how it should be. So, Jamal, before we get into too much of the taxation problem and the system and how should one go about and get that tax advice, I want to take you a few years back into your childhood, ask you a question that I ask all my guests on here. I mean, when you were growing up, and as kids, when we were all growing up, right, at a young age, we see a lot of different careers in our life, like professional careers. It'd be a doctor, lawyer, architect, engineer, being an actor, being a musician. Did you always aspire to be in this tax sort of industry, accounting, finance, all this sort of industry? Or did you aspire to be a doctor or a lawyer? What was it that you wanted to become when you were growing up?
It's a very good question. It's a very funny question, actually.
Sure.
We're a family of doctors.
Oh.
So my dad is a neurosurgeon.
Wow.
A dentist.
Okay.
my brothers, my sister, everybody in our family is either an engineer or a doctor. I'm the only outcast.
You're the odd one out.
I'm the black swan. So
But they all must be coming to you, right, for their tax.
When I wanted to, when I said that as a child I wasn't very good in studies.
Okay.
Serious in studies when I turned about 18, and my family had lost complete hope in me. And they said, "Oh, Jamal, what's going to become of you?" Because if you go to my parents' house,
yeah,
on their main walls in the living room, there's those pictures of my brothers and my sister taking like gold
graduation pics and all that. Yeah,
gold medals, not just graduation, gold medals being awarded,
wow,
medals and certificates. So our house is full of the medals and certificates and trophies.
Okay,
And it's
okay.
like,
So did you I mean, you finished school, you did your college, and then did you go to university?
I did.
Okay. And what
Between
did you do at university to qualify as what you're doing today?
I went into accountancy, practical accountancy, applied accountancy in university. Then I did the chartered accountancy. Then I did the chartered tax advisor, which is one step above the tax barrister level. So,
Okay.
and as time went on, I just realized I had a strength with numbers,
Of
and
course.
looking, because I have quite a few businesses, not just accountancy. I have a property business, I have a software business, artificial
Okay.
intelligence. So
Yep. I read on your profile that you have a love for tech and artificial intelligence. We will get into that as well. But when you mentioned that you sort of got stronger on dealing with numbers while doing all your graduation and your degree afterwards as a chartered accountant. Um, was that always a part of you in the background, like while you were growing up, like, like you're at school, you're good at maths and college, in A levels, all that kind of stuff? Or did the education make you stronger in numbers, that you found out that yes, accountancy is where I want to go into?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay.
It's I'm grateful that I've worked with some very, very amazing people in my
Okay.
career,
Okay.
and that's my example. I used to work at a company called Deloitte, and
Okay.
we had clients like Sir Alan Sugar, like Vodafone, like some of the top people in the country that you know. So
Of course.
mixed with them, to sit with billionaires. I mean, I was with Sir Richard Branson last year. I went to his island.
I've seen that picture of yours on there.
Yeah, and I had quite a good mentoring session with him.
Okay.
And I'm going again this year to meet with him. So it's these combination of being who you're speaking with, who your company is. This is what my dad used to tell me. This is what my mentors. I have a business mentor, and they say the same, is that you. This is somebody said this to me a couple of years ago, and they said, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future."
Okay.
Show me the 5 people that you've spoken to the last 4 weeks or something.
Okay.
People to the last 4 weeks. I will show you where you will be in 5 years or 10 years time. And that is so true.
That is absolutely true. I mean, it's who you engage with in your circle. It be business, it be personal life, whatever it is, and that's what takes you up in life, I guess. So, I mean, so coming back to after your education that you did you go straight away and work for Deloitte, or was there any other companies that you worked for in the middle?
I was working for other companies as well, and then I joined Deloitte as a senior hire, and then from Deloitte I was taken on by one of our clients at Deloitte called Sony.
Okay.
So the PlayStation and all that.
How was it working at Deloitte? Can you share your experience?
It was great. It was great. It was a bit. It was overwhelming for the first couple of months.
Okay.
Because you get to
overwhelming is because you were dealing with such high caliber clients, or was it the pressure within the company?
Pressure was fine. I mean, I was okay with the pressure, but you're dealing with very, very high-profile people, and that kind of opened my eyes into the commercial world.
Okay.
And that's when I thought it's good to have my own business,
Yep.
which I was quite happy with.
Okay.
So it is just when you get to meet with people in my profession. Even now, we have very, very high-profile clients who are billionaires and hundreds of millions worth.
And that's where Churchill Tax Advisors advise them on their taxations.
Yeah, and when we deal with, and I've always acted like a sponge. So when I
Okay.
meet with people, I try to absorb knowledge.
Of course.
I try to absorb knowledge as much as I can, because it's not every day that you meet with a normal person has the opportunity to meet with, say, a billionaire and sit with them, and a billionaire open up to you.
Of course.
Or somebody who's worked, say, £700 million, and they open up to you, and they take you in confidence, and they tell you things, and then you say, wow, you did this and you did this, and that's how you got there.
When you sat with Richard Branson last year, did he teach you any tricks of the trade?
Yeah.
Or did he tell you how did he make his millions and billions and all that kind of stuff?
And I would love to share it on this. I had a lot of questions for him. I mean, I went all the way to the BVI Islands, Necker
Okay. Okay.
in near Antigua. So we was a long flight. Then on the boat, on the ferry to get to Necker Island is not easy, but Necker Island is a little heaven and a little paradise. But I had lots of questions for him, and we week with him. But there were quite a lot of people, so I didn't get a one-to-one with him for like 7 days.
Okay.
One-to-ones. And one of the key things he said to me, he said, Jamal, I told him about my artificial intelligence business, an app business. And he said, Jamal, I think you'll be very successful, but I said, what's the key? How do you manage something so big? He's sitting Richard Branson is sitting in his Necker Island, and he's managing this empire. And he said the key, Jamal, it's a secret, and that is that hire people that are better than you.
Of course, 100%.
Hire people.
100%. I agree to that value. I mean, that is.
Said, Jamal, if you apply
Sorry, go ahead.
If you apply this policy, you will be super successful.
And that's what he did, right?
Yeah, that's what he did.
Wow, that's amazing. So, bringing you back into your career, so you worked at Deloitte and you met with all these billionaires and millionaires, and you advised them on these taxation issues of their businesses. Why the point that you left Deloitte? I mean, when you're dealing with such high caliber clients, why did you choose to leave Deloitte and move on move on to another company where you are today?
The reason is that my activities were restricted.
Okay.
Yeah, my activities were very much restricted.
When you say activities were restricted, what? I mean, there are a lot of people today, there are a lot of university students who graduate and want to get into Deloitte and the big fours, right? KPMG, Deloitte, and which is the other two? I don't know at the top of my head.
PwC,
Goldman Sachs. Exactly. So why is it that they don't give you that opportunity to expand yourself in the industry?
Well, they want you to work for them.
Of course.
Have that. I mean, it's a good place to be. I must say. I wouldn't say I wouldn't discount completely, but I guess there was an entrepreneurial spirit inside me that forced me to take a different path, and that was the entrepreneurial spirit. Because a lot of people, I still have friends at Deloitte, and they've kind of gone up, and they're partners now or directors now. And they're making, say, good £150,000 a year.
Wow.
Which is, and if I'd stayed there, maybe I would have been earning the same, maybe a couple £100,000 a year. But I guess that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a lot more.
Okay.
So since I've started Churchill, we've got into real estate. I do a lot of real estate work. At this moment in time, I'm doing some mega projects. I've gone into artificial intelligence. We've got a couple of other branches. We were doing acquisitions. So that couldn't be
Sure.
possible
At Deloitte.
Deloitte.
Is it
Deloitte.
is is it is
You
it
don't
is it
have the
because of
opportunity to
the
even blink out. So that's
is it because is it because of the hours of work in that company, or you don't get that freedom to do what you want?
both. Both. The hours are long, so you wouldn't be working. You would expect to be working until 8, 9, 10 o'clock every day.
Wow.
And so you just, when you go home, you are exhausted physically.
Absolutely.
You
I'm
can't.
sure I'm sure. I mean, even when you're working for your own business, right? It never stops. You're working 24/7 from whatever time you wake up to whatever time you sleep. It's all on there. You're on the phone, emails, calls, messages. It never stops. But then you are doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for someone else. You see? So I guess that's the beauty of running your own business rather than working for a company, even though the company may be, worth billions and billions of dollars, pounds, whatever it is, but it's just that you get that freedom from working for yourself.
Exactly. I mean, I do. I work, and my wife says the same to me. My children, I work quite a lot, but now I'm to take a step back. I've got a very good team. I'm very proud of my colleagues who are looking after the business for me. That allows me to focus on some other areas of acquisition strategies, real estate, some my artificial intelligence business,
Sure.
and that's that. I mean, right now I'm lucky that I'm sitting at home in my conservatory. I'm enjoying the sunshine. Would I be able to do that if I was at Deloitte? Probably not.
Of
Um,
course not.
I say I wouldn't discount these big firms because not everybody's entrepreneurial. Not everybody.
Of
A
course.
lot of people in my family, for the doctors and the engineers and the lawyers, they just want to have a job, go to it 9 o'clock in the morning, finish at 5 o'clock or 5:30, come home and watch movies.
And spend the time. Absolutely. They
What's
don't want to go that extra. They don't want to go that extra mile to see what freedom can be like, I guess.
maybe not everybody wants to do that. It's not a good thing or a bad
Yeah.
thing. It's not about that. It's about a personal choice.
Yeah.
People are happy,
Absolutely.
and they have a plan that I'm earning £120,000 this year. By when I get promoted next year, I want to be earning £140,000 a year or £150,000, and in 5 years,
Absolutely.
£250,000 or £300,000 a year. And this is their plan, and they want to stick close to the employment plan. And at this stage, I want to
Of
retire,
course.
which is a very good path. A lot of people do that. A lot of
Yep.
people. I
Yep.
wouldn't say that's a bad choice. You're guaranteed an income every month. Where you're an entrepreneur, you don't know what's going to happen next month. You say,
Exactly. You never know, right? You're
oh,
you're like you're like in that limbo that if I made it this month, but what about next month? So I guess it is like that. Business is like that. Entrepreneurship is like that. That you have to work on the basis that make your income keep on going at it so that every month you have that income, passive income coming in, and that's how entrepreneurs like yourself are doing it. So coming back to your career, so you worked at Deloitte and then you started Churchill Tax Advisors. How do you go about advising your clients on taxation issues such as it be property, it be stocks and shares investments, it be uh, uh, inheritance tax, it be capital gains tax, it be stamp duty tax? What what are the advices that you give to your clients on these separate issues that I just said?
there are no fingers are the same. Every advice is different. But I'll give you some typical
Of course.
examples of what we get. Is we get approached
Yep.
by landlords, people who have accumulated wealth, and they're now worried about passing it on to the next generation, but because the inheritance tax in the UK is 40%. So if you die with a large estate, government 40% of it, and we see a lot of that. So people come to us to reduce their inheritance tax. They want to transfer properties to their children, but they don't want to lose control, because it's their hard work essentially. But they don't want, at the same time, they don't want to pay tax.
Of course.
They don't want. There's too much tax going out every year. There's new rules about you don't get mortgage interest, etc. So that's a lot of people to mitigate that. There are people who want to gift properties to their children, gift businesses to their children, gift money.
We've got a question related to that right here. That is it true that you have to pay capital gains tax if you gift a property to your son or daughter?
Yes, it is absolutely true. And the next part is it depends. Okay, and it depends if you've lived in that property. So if you've if you've lived in that property, if it's your main residence, then you don't have to pay capital gains tax. But then again, if you gift to your children and then you continue to live in that property, that will count as something we call gift with reservation for inheritance tax purposes. So when you do pass away, it will become part of your estate. So there's a lot of planning that needs to be done. There's a lot of thought that needs to go through each particular scenario. But it is absolutely.
But there is no way out. You have to pay that tax, whatever the percentage may be. But it could be like a percentage that you can bring down, but you still have to pay that tax, I guess, right?
The baseline is, let me explain to you. So the baseline is you have to pay tax.
Sure.
That's the exemption.
Yep.
So the exemptions could bring it down to completely zero, or the exemptions could bring it down to 20% or whatever it is. So for example, mum and dad bought a house for 100,000. Okay, just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
And they sold it. The current market is 500,000. They bought it many years ago for 100,000. Living in it, the children have grown up in that house. Now the current market value is 500,000. They want to gift it to their children, to their daughter. And for example, we've got the. So they gift it to the daughter. The current market value of the property is 500,000. Okay, so 500,000 minus 100,000. There's a deemed capital gain of 100,000. Now, if you have lived in this property, if the first scenario is you have never lived in this property, this is an investment property. Okay, so capital gain tax on that will be 400,000 multiplied by 28% or whatever it is. Okay, so ignore the percentages. So that's the you have to pay when you gift your children. However, the second scenario is that you have lived in this property. This is the main house that you live in. So the capital gain of 400 less the exemption. So the exemption is whether you've been living in this property all this time, or you lived in it for a while.
Okay.
You take out the exemptions, and then you might be left with some gain. You might be left with no gain, no tax to pay. It depends on each scenario. So your answer is yes, subject to exemptions. Answer to the question is yes, subject to exemptions.
Okay, and for and to get those exemptions and to understand that tax system better, people should call up Jamal Khan of Churchill Tax Advisors and get that exemption or get that advice on whatever it may be. It be property, it be inheritance tax, whatever it is, So do get in touch with him. Coming back to your career, you mentioned that you're into app developing. You're into artificial technology. Why does that interest you so much? What's in there that an individual from an accountancy background is so intrigued with technology?
I think that's more of an entrepreneurial thing rather than it's just a passion that I have, and I've been working on this project for 5. We're going to do our launch in 3 to 4 weeks. The app is called Clara World.
Sorry, the app is called
Clara World. CLA.
Can I?
If you Google it, we're on top, and we have a website.
I've just put a comment here. Is that right? Clara World?
Yeah, Clara World.
Okay.
Clara World
And what
app.
does it do if you can explain that?
It's the world's first super app.
Okay.
Um, it might take a couple of minutes for me to explain what a super app does. So
Go ahead. Take your time.
it's a combination of every single. It can do everything for you. Everything, your social media, your chatting, your video calls, etc. Your B2B, B2C.
Live sessions.
Sorry?
Live sessions.
Live sessions, your augmented reality in artificial intelligence with different kind of screens for your faces, etc.
Okay.
Beautification.
Okay.
Going on for 3 years.
So it's like it's like a Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, tech, Uber, Deliveroo combined.
Just Eat, Amazon, Facebook, you name it. It is the strongest app that the world has ever seen.
Wow.
And we are in the final phases of the first module, which is going to be the chat and the social media function. The first module is the second, which is being released on 14th of August. 14th of August we'll have a beta launch, and then we'll go on to.
That's an amazing date. It's Pakistan's Independence Day, 14th of August. Yeah. Did you know that?
And then the next module that will be released a month later will be the food. So food delivery and eat in, eat out. So you can book a table. You can at a restaurant through this app. You can buy your food. You can order your food before you arrive. You can pay for your food before you arrive. Okay. You can get food delivered. You can track everything.
So basically, I should once I download this Clara World Super app, I should delete all the other apps from my phone.
Yes, that's the idea. Not many people see. It's a concept. It's like if somebody said to you many years ago that there will be a car called Tesla, okay, electric car,
of course.
You will like Instagram. Did you think you would need Instagram 20 years ago? No. But you see,
absolutely.
There's a function called on demand service.
Okay.
On-demand service, it can apply to any kind of service, but let me just give you an example.
So is it like an Amazon Prime kind of thing?
No.
Okay.
Amazon Prime, a small fraction of it.
Okay.
That will just a small fraction of it. Okay. But we are writing our own code. We're not using any Amazon or Facebook or anything. We are using our own developers. Okay. There are 13 developers. There's about a team of 25 people in total.
Wow.
That I've been funding for the last 3 years.
Wow. Can I just ask how much have you funded in here?
Don't ask that. I'll have a heart attack. Okay.
No, just for people to know that how much funding is required to build an app of this nature. That you've got 13 developers in your team. You're managing that team. You've been going for 3 years. All you've been doing is funding that. How much so far have you put into that business of yours?
I can't tell you that, but I'll tell you one thing. I went to
7 figures, 8 figures.
Big figures. I think my wife is there, but I think if this doesn't work, I think she would. I went to a venture capitalist firm in Silicon Valley. I just pitched it. I haven't done proper pitching yet because we haven't got. I explained the concept to them, and one of the senior partners in the VC firm said, "Jamal, you don't have to tell me, but I can see you've killed yourself over this passion of yours for 3 years, and because putting everything together, just putting a augmented reality for face recognition and the the filters, the beautification filters. You have no idea how difficult that is, how long that can take. Making a video call like this that we are doing right now.
Yep.
We just download Instagram and do it.
But you don't know what's at the back of it.
The coding that goes behind it, the speed. So, and then coming back to what I was saying about there's a function in it that, for example, I don't know if you ever needed a plumber. Okay.
Yep.
Your breaks in the kitchen, and then you say you need a plumber. You call your plumber. Sorry, can't do it until next week. He's busy.
Yep.
Or you don't have to call out with your plumber because he did the last job he did was pretty bad.
Got you.
Around, and then you're out of options. What do? You go and Google
and find the most expensive plumber.
Find whatever. On this app, what you would do is you would go. There'll be a function called on-demand service. You go and click, say, I need a plumber. This is my job. This is my problem, and you press send. Now, every person that's registered as a plumber in my area,
got you,
will be GPS tracked.
How close they are to your house, how close they are to your location, all that kind of stuff, right?
So every person every plumber that's registered in my area will see a pop-up notification on their phone. Job available. Like
something like Uber, basically.
Okay.
Yep.
But a lot more advanced. I'll compare Uber in a minute. Okay, because we will have a taxi function as well. So that will everybody will get a notification, and the plumbers that are available will then respond to that request. Say, yes, I can do this. I will charge you this much. I can come today or tomorrow. So the person will get that notification on their phone. 5 plumbers have showed interest. Check their ratings, etc.
Okay.
Choose one. You can speak to them. You can chat with them. You can do video chat with them.
Yep.
The plumber. That's an architect. That's a doctor. That's an engineer. That's a software designer. That's
real estate,
property consultant. Anything that you need. Now, just imagine that happening in every single town in the world.
Wow, that is big. That is big. That is huge. Who have you got behind you? Richard Branson. I've guessed it right, haven't I?
I've got a video of him interviewing me on this particular, when I was pitching this to him last year. I went to Necker Island.
Wow.
Well,
you should put it on. You should put that on your Instagram.
All right.
You'll get a lot of views, a lot of followers.
And he said, Jamal, I think this is going to be big.
I can see that your passion, your love for tech, you're possibly going to bring it out with this app that you're developing, and I wish you all the very best for that. But it's been a pleasure talking to you about different things that we spoke about your studies, your career, your accountancy life, your taxation life, your app building, your passion for artificial technology, artificial intelligence, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing that with us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. But before you go, I do this with all my guests that come on here. I ask them for one positive advice that they would like to share with the world today that we are living in right now. I know you're coming out with your app, and that's in itself a big positivity. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be one of the first ones to download it. Is there like a discount for maybe the first 100 people that download it or something?
It's free.
Oh, okay, perfect, super. So, what positive advice would you like to share with us today?
My positive advice is just make yourself a bit uncomfortable and follow your follow your passion. This is my passion. And I've followed it, and I've gone against the odds.
Will you send us a message when the app is launching so we can download it?
Of course I will. I would be grateful if you and your group can download it and give me feedback.
I will, of course. Once it's launched, I will share it on my Instagram live and on my stories, on my feed, that go out and download Jamal Khan's Clara World super app. But thank you so much for joining me today, Jamal. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. So that was Jamal Khan, tax advisor, entrepreneur, passionate about artificial technology, artificial intelligence. I don't know why I keep saying artificial technology, artificial intelligence. Thank you to Jamal for joining me today. Thank you to all the viewers that tuned in. Do tune in this afternoon at 3 o'clock, where I've got a guest who's going to be talking about anxiety, stress, midlife crisis. Me and my friends have been going about this for a while, so it's going to be good talking to her about that. So thank you so much to everyone for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. It's Friday. I'm going to say this again when I do my live session again, but it's Friday. Go out and enjoy your weekend, whatever you're doing. Take care. Bye-bye.